amazing.
I think I actually... Well, maybe I didn't burp. Maybe you were the only one that burped, but it was just the exact same timing. And I felt like maybe I burped.
Welcome to Beach Theory, everybody. We have a very awesome, amazing, special episode for you today. I'm so excited for you guys. We recorded this, so this is actually going to be like a commentary of our second amazing big treasure hunt. We recorded this years ago.
How many years ago?
Like 2
years.
It is multiple years.
That is 2.
That ones of
is years.
More than 1 year. 2 years ago, after we recorded like the amazing second big epic treasure hunt video that has gone viral on YouTube, we recorded this commentary.
How many views does it have now?
25 million.
25 million views.
Something like that. So
wow.
Basically,
this is the behind the scenes, all secrets revealed video.
We have never revealed this video or the audio to accompany it to the internet anywhere because
it's always been on the back of our minds.
Yep. It was
never
something
revealed.
That was like, let's record it while it's fresh on our mind, and one day we'll release it to the world when they're ready for it.
The reason why we didn't release it was because we had so many people that completely 100% believed that this was real, and we found it this way from hundreds of years ago. Or 100 years ago or something.
Spoil the fun. And we're still not spoiling the fun because we're posting this on Beach Theory. And the only people that listen to it on Beach Theory are going to be the people that want to know.
You'll get a reward.
The truth.
Which is the truth.
The truth is out there.
The truth behind the treasure.
Ooh.
Hey, let's make a new channel.
So if you're watching this on YouTube, you're in for a treat because you get to see Becca all not pregnant and me with my long hair.
Yeah, you looked like a caveman, and we are a different people now.
If you're just listening to this on anywhere you can listen to podcasts, hopefully it makes sense, but it will be on the podcast outlets, whatever you call those things, everywhere you find podcasts. So, without further ado, let's get to it. I'm excited. Let's watch the second treasure hunt and learn all about what it takes to make it.
County to follow the rest of the treasure hunt. Woo!
Alright, so we're watching the second treasure hunt. This one is the second one.
The second official Ryan treasure hunt.
Yep.
Oh wait, I want to hear it.
You haven't watched this, that's why you want to hear it.
Yeah. If you remember, the first one had a whole bunch of cash in it. A lot of people had a question about whether or not that cash was real. It was real. It's just there's a lot less cash than you think.
Tell them the trick.
Okay, I'm going to tell you a trick. So if you take paper and then you cut it in the shape of that specific shape, you can sandwich it with a dollar bill on top, a dollar bill on the bottom.
And then when you lift it up, it looks like a huge stack of money.
Mm-hmm. But earlier in that treasure hunt,
it's only $2.
Yeah. But earlier in that treasure hunt, there was in the secret book. It was actually $100. $100.
That was all dollars.
Okay, this is gonna be an interesting secret that I have to tell you. Along with this, a lot of the time it's all set up, meaning when you want to get the reaction out of a person, you build it up, meaning you have everything real, and then at the end, there's no reason to doubt if it's fake, if you have fake stuff at the end. A little bit. But
you mean if you have real stuff at the end, there's no reason to doubt?
Well, it's the same. Well, but mostly with the beginning. And so that's what it was like in the first treasure hunt. But the second treasure hunt had a lot of real treasure.
Let's read the
Real
clue,
treasure.
and then I'll tell you why I think it's this house.
Okay, so you guys remember how I went to
Sometimes I feel like we need to pause this so you can explain it.
Okay. You guys remember that I went to my mom and dad's house, if you've been watching the vlogs, to finish the bathroom.
Well, I mean...
There was something I was finishing in that bathroom, but I was working on a lot of other stuff. I pulled late hours on this one. I woke up at like 8:30 and I'd go all the way to 11 o'clock at night most days. Most days
just
working on that treasure hunt. And now you get to have a sneak peek.
It was really all the treasure hunt. It wasn't really working.
This one is a really, really cool treasure hunt because unlike the first one where you did have treasure and it was all real, other than like the things that I just explained, the sandwich clues. This one was all real stuff. Meaning, it had some really expensive real stuff in it. Okay, the copper scroll.
That took a really long time. We edited it to make it look so quick,
It probably
but like
felt like it took an hour to melt that.
took an hour to melt it, and then I was really worried I was gonna break it after that too. It was so it was so amazing, but I was like, I really feel like I'm gonna ruin whatever this is.
You guys thought it took a long time. Okay, if you look at that copper scroll, all those dots were
Little
like
a
hammer and nail, pretty much. But it was a hammer and like a screw or like a really, really sharp thing. And so every single dot in there was like tink, tink, tink. That took me hours just to do the writing on the copper. Yeah. So right here, you see the back of the brick. It's actually a fresh cut. So you can tell that this is actually a newer thing right here. The back of the brick, I cut through with a hacksaw and it ruined so many blades. It's like cutting through sandpaper.
You cut a brick with a hacksaw?
Horrible. Awful.
Yeah, I could tell we were doing the right thing because both my mom and dad were just kind of like, oh. And they were trying not to be too excited, but at the same time.
Do you want to know how I did that?
Yes, I want to know about that.
Okay, so that right there, I actually had a nice new pouch that had a double pouch in it.
I knew it was a new thing that you destroyed.
Yeah, what I did is I added a lot of different things to it. I added dirt, and then I also got water on it, and I used the heat gun, and I also might have put a stain on it. Anyways, and I totally dried it out to the point of it being really, really brittle. We've actually encountered real
brittle things like that down in Fountain Green.
That's right. We used to live in a farm town, and there's a lot of farm equipment that had leather in it, and it was really, really brittle. So I gotta make this brittle. That's a real
I was
radio
actually
orthodontic
thinking,
pen, too.
I actually thought that thing was real and probably very expensive.
This is real.
The decoder pin?
This decoder pin is one of the most collectible decoder pins, especially one that's working and that's not rusty. It's kind of hard to find.
How much was it?
Can't tell yet. No, I can't remember. In truth, I bought so many things, my brain's like fried. But there's probably about 45 maybe?
Okay.
Just for the decoder pin. But this one's one of the most collectible ones because it's so ornate.
To anybody that says it's not a real treasure chest or treasure hunt,
it's real.
It's actually
There's
real.
A lot of real
because if you think about it, the value of everything in this hunt was thousands of dollars.
It really was. I spent thousands on it.
This little section where my dad was like, I was like, what is that? An Eve or was it? Is that
a dormer?
A dormer. What is a dormer even? What is that? And he was like, well, I think it might be that. I'm like, that looks like a dormer to me.
There's only one dormer in the house though.
That was helpful because otherwise I would have been looking everywhere.
Yeah, and this actually has a cool story with it. So we lived there.
Question.
What?
Could you get into that dormer before and you just covered it up?
Yes.
Okay, I thought I remembered being able to get into that, but I couldn't. I was like, it was so long ago, and I never explored the attic that deep.
So this is the thing. In the past, we were up in the attic, me and my brother Andrew, he actually noticed this hole there. Oh, and with the wood and making it look old, it's coffee stain. Anyways, yeah, it takes a long time. But you get all those nice, rich, horrible stains.
Is that how you did it on all the papers?
Yeah,
too?
on the paper as well. It's coffee stain, you use a heat gun, heat it up. Anyways, so this did not look like this. It had a small hole in it, and I went in there and I cut it out and I made sure to reinforce other boards and things. I had to add a floor in there.
Oh yeah.
I had to do a lot actually just to do that.
It's funny because you think it's just like that because that's how good he did.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I have to tell you a story about a mouse. So I went and I dusted that. When I say I dust things, it means I put dust on it.
That's how he does.
Yeah. A lot of the things were done with flour in a sock.
No wonder you came home with a horrible cough.
Yeah.
Still have a horrible cough.
Yeah. Anyways, so. Anyway, so I dusted it.
It's going through so fast, though.
Yeah, I dusted it, and I came back, and I hadn't put the door on yet, and I looked, and there was mouse prints in it. I was like, oh! Oh, it looks more real.
How frustrating is that?
How dare you, mouse, go on my freshly dusted.
I just brushed actually just did this.
So where did you get this machine?
Oh, this one I ordered from India.
Wow.
This one, a lot of people weren't really ordering them, and it was at a time when they was on sale. Now they're a little bit more expensive because people realize that they are getting the product. Sometimes they don't really trust where they get it from.
Right.
And this was a challenge all in itself. That vinyl record. Okay, so I went to Cody's house. Cody is he's Amanda's husband. Anyways, we went and we got this recording. Cody did it. Cody did the voiceover.
I knew it! I knew it! I knew it! Because I was like...
How did you do that?
Right, well, I was like, how are they going to get the numbers to match up to give us a special message?
That's
Exactly.
from the house. I was wondering that too.
So I wrote...
But then I just...
Yeah. But so I was like, they had to do a voiceover, but how?
I wrote this clue, and I got it all written out. We went and did a lot of research. We looked up Little Orphan Annie radio broadcasts. He did a voiceover, and then
it's Cody's voice.
Yes, we sent the file to France, and they made a vinyl record.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
Sent it back. You guys don't know this. You guys don't know this. On the other side of the record,
Is the actual Orphan Annie thing?
no, is the song that Amanda sung, Pause the Game, Old Fashioned.
No way.
No way! I
So you guys didn't know that. But this is interesting too, though. This is the thing. Oh, this was so hard.
I can't believe that!
But it is Pause the Game, Old Fashioned. But this is what happened, though. I didn't know this. I played it wrong though when I first got the record, and it scratched up the Pause the Game side really bad.
Oh.
So you still can hear it, but it's like here and there.
Aww.
Because I put the needle on the wrong side of the record, and I had it facing into it, and it was digging into it like.
Oh.
And so I got this
I'm
record.
sure there's all these old people that are like, you don't know!
So that's why I had. I know. And so that's why I included in the instructions how to use the gramophone. Because luckily I didn't get this other side.
Right.
But notice, it's also really hard to slow it down, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That is because the newer records they make it so they're thinner, or you can get a lot more content on it,
Interesting.
but they have to play it slower.
Okay, so tell us about this woodwork, hidden in the woodwork.
Okay, so in the past I did Hidden in the Woodworks.
He has an old channel.
Very old
and
channel,
wise.
strong and wise. There's not very many people that ever. I stopped. I went to college, stopped doing
But you had
YouTube.
recorded a video showing this.
Yes,
Actually.
But if you notice, that board is a different board.
I didn't.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't know.
I had to remake this board because the other one was totally destroyed. It
Okay.
was just really old.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Did you make that?
No,
That pig.
I am an enthusiast for thrift stores. But
Star swine.
that pig originally did not have the mouth that opened. I had to cut that mouth open and still
make a place to put
but it was hard to
Were
cut
you
it open.
thinking piggy bank when you made that?
piggy.
Not necessarily, but it's a piggy bank. There's a lot that went into making that because I had to cut the mouth out without ruining the mouth,
Right.
Yeah.
and then make it. So it's pretty cool.
That one was the most confusing one.
The Visionaire Cipher.
I'm glad I had a
Yeah.
map for that.
The Visionaire Cipher. A lot of time you just forget. I forgot to include instructions with this one.
Yeah.
And so it was actually
Oh,
really
yeah.
hard because you guys had to get right on the internet. It's like, how do we do this?
But you know what? It worked really well, and it ended
Yeah.
up being so quick for us.
Right.
I mean, it was confusing, but I just love the internet
Yeah.
because then I didn't even have to think about it.
Right.
You know?
Another thing about this, if you notice in the earlier on clues, what I was doing with the coffee stain is I'd write the clue, dip the coffee stain in there, and it would fade to the point of almost not being able to read the clue.
Some of them I couldn't almost.
Exactly.
I'd be like,
But so with the Visionaire Cipher, you can see it because it's hard to see a lot of the writing on there. But as it gets further on, I learned that you stain the paper, dry it out, then you write the
And you
clue
write
on it.
on it. Gotcha.
That's
but
why.
that was pretty cool though, even when it was like, because it was like,
Really
oh, this
old
has
looking.
water damage. That's what I thought.
Mhm.
So was this hole in the ceiling the whole time? Because I know
No,
I've been in there
no.
before.
No, it wasn't there. I know that it
On the
wasn't.
stairway, you kind of can get away with things because you don't know where the stairs necessarily end when you're underneath there. So I actually went about 2 stairs down, maybe
So that
1 stair
ceiling
down.
was there, but you cut a hole?
No, I made a false ceiling.
Oh, the ceiling wasn't there before.
Yeah, but I painted it to look older.
Oh.
You kind of look at what's there and then you match it.
Wow.
Wow.
So you didn't notice that there was a false ceiling in there? You thought that had just always been a ceiling?
So you can see right there that it's white when it popped open, but at the same time, so yeah, I made a hand. Everything in here is custom, and that one it made it so when it went in, if you notice later on, and you have a little chain that pulls in the bathroom. This is the same way.
Oh, so you had to crank it to make it pull open.
It was a screw thing that when you would screw it in, it would then start pulling a chain, which would let it drop.
Okay. That was. Where did you get that gramophone thing?
No, that's not a gramophone.
What is it?
Multi-cord. This multi-cord
thing.
is actually about $200 for this.
And all that fake dust, we were all like.
Oh, I know. Do you know how hard it was to fake or like put dust on stuff that's like, I just spent so much money on this. I ruined it. This multi-cord originally did not have a secret compartment in it. I had to make the secret compartment not destroying the actual integrity.
Let's see, I would like to order this with a secret compartment.
I just think it's incredible that when you push those 5 or 6 keys, that it pops open. Like.
I made it so that it has a sequence, meaning it connects wires. But all of those notes have to be
inside of the keyboard.
Inside the keyboard.
Wow.
And I had to find room inside of the keyboard to be able to make a secret compartment.
And we wonder why it took him like 6 months.
Yeah.
Ryan, you are a genius.
You are a genius.
Why, thank you. Anyways.
I am just so amazed.
So I had to make a secret compartment. Originally, I ordered pressure-sensitive switches, and they did not work.
Wow.
And so a lot of this was trial and error, and I spending a lot more money than I probably should have. But I wound up just making my own switches and inside it. So press all of them together, and the reason why you have to press the copper plate is it uses an actual magnetic spring, so that when it gets electricity to it, it'll pull it down. But the pressure, you've noticed it pops out. The pressure was so great on that you had to first push in to relieve the pressure to let it go down.
Wow.
But you had to be pressing the cord. But at the same time, it worked out.
Because you showed us after this, and it's not in the video, but you showed us pushing different keys, and it didn't work.
Yeah, pushing different keys and pressing it in, doesn't work, it goes... Wow. Yeah.
This is one of those things where when I see this, I'm just like, wow, Ryan.
Yeah.
I cannot even believe that you did something like that. It's so incredible.
Yeah.
This dance.
Gotta feel it inside my bones.
Gotta stop for the music sequence.
It's so funny.
Did you invent this?
Yes, this is something that my mom and me, with her being there, she actually helped me out a lot. I did most of it, but she gave me ideas and things, and this is one that we kind of both came up with. I came up with the number above and number below, but to get the whole alphabet in one single thing is actually quite difficult, because we created this. Yeah,
I noticed it didn't always follow the rules.
It actually did. It actually did. But when you're doing it, it gets really, really confusing. See, I wrote it down like probably 10 times on a piece of paper, and I wrote the number and up, the number and below, the number and up, the number and below. So I know that it...
And I think that we just got to a point where we were like, trial and error. If it's not this one that's making
Yeah.
the word, this one's making
I wasn't thinking the number and up or the number and below. I was thinking there's this row of numbers, which is the upper row. And there's this row of numbers, which is the lower row.
Oh,
so
I was thinking Ryan's way.
Oh,
Yeah.
See, I was thinking of it differently. That's why I was like, it's not always following the rules.
Yeah, so that's another thing that you encounter with this, especially if you're
Different
making
ways
up
of
your
thinking.
own ciphers. Yeah, yeah. But so yeah, that one was you had to. What it did is it was A, B, C to Z, and then it had 26 one above on A and 26 below. But when you got to Z, it actually had 26 above and one below. With all the numbers, they actually don't repeat. So you can actually move the dial, and you can actually utilize it in possible future treasure hunts, even maybe. And it would always work.
Question.
The way I made it.
Is this one Was this one of your Hidden in the Woodworks, or was this a new one?
No, this was a new one.
Okay.
This one originally had metal in it that had actually been bent up quite a bit.
Wait, okay, so you used... I know that we had somewhere... It was probably that same place, but just without, like, a latch on it. Because I remember finding the tunnel underneath in the vent. And
that was when there was
put,
metal
like,
in there and you
stuff
can
in
just see into the side.
Yeah.
A lot of this that I was doing, I was actually doing repair work at the
I know.
I was just gonna say, yeah, you probably made things a lot nicer than it was.
Yeah.
This is really cool, this book. This one is a treasure trove of value right here, actually. Within the actual letter, that's an East India Trading Company coin. They're highly collectible. These are
1840.
1840.
That's in good shape for being 1840.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Very, very good.
I thought,
shape.
this coin looks new.
It was so hard to take these money, buying them online, and then taking them out of the sleeves, barely like breathing, like I can't touch this.
Because this is like collectible money that was protected.
Because this is from the Civil War.
Wow.
Fractional currency from the Civil War.
And here we are just playing with it.
You're
And you're probably
like,
like,
And that's why I couldn't be there. Because I was like, if it gets ripped, I'll probably have a heart attack and die.
how much was this? 10 cents.
So each one is worth, this one was one of the very first ones made. And so each one is different in terms of value and condition. I've seen some of them that are $250 a piece.
Woo!
But these ones, I believe I spent roughly, like $40 a piece.
Oh, wow.
Luckily, which is really truly amazing.
Yeah. Corbin, what? Mom already told you what to eat.
If you want, you can make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
go make a
There's
sandwich.
more peanut butter and jelly.
You know where it is.
Jelly's in the fridge, peanut butter's in the pantry, and bread is on the counter.
You know how to do it.
You can also have an apple, a banana, or a cheese stick.
Okay, go out.
I already had it.
Okay, go make a sandwich.
I just had a
Go.
square of cheese.
Go make a sandwich.
Not
Alright.
too big.
Go make a sandwich.
Okay, so
That's a lot of money for those
except
bills.
except for the $5 Confederate dollar bill.
How much was that?
That one was more expensive because it was in very, very mint condition.
It was very good condition.
But you pulled it out of the sleeve.
That one right there. That one was actually closer to $100, I think.
Whoa!
That's a
And
real
we're
treasure.
just like, here, kids, here.
Yeah. And that book is about a $250 book. Because it's actually from 1883, I think.
That's a real treasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard when we're in it, not knowing the true value of things,
Right.
thinking this could be homemade
This could,
from Ryan.
this could be from a thrift store. This could be $500.
Yeah.
Actually,
Like, there's
that's
no-
actually a really, really good comment because so I've worked in jewelry making and blacksmithing and a lot of different things having to do with metallurgy. And so
Metallurgy.
yes,
I'm
and so
meddling people's
like for
lives.
instance,
Wasn't
that
this a lamp?
medallion I made.
It was a lamp before, wasn't it?
No, there was nothing ever above there. I actually had to custom make that so it would go into there. When I cut into that dust that was in there, that had been there since the house was built.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was a custom made.
I was afraid to stick my hand up there. And
Well,
I was like, I hope there's nothing
originally
else.
I cut that hole in there and I stuck my head in there. And that's all I could fit through there. And I was pretty scared too because I got some cobwebs.
Can you imagine if your head got stuck and you're just up there?
That reminds me of like Toy Story or something.
I made this. I made that from scratch.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, well, I say from scratch. I used a lamp.
Okay.
A lamp base, and then I had to custom cut glass and then custom make it. It has springs on the inside, and so when you pull it, it's spring loaded and keeps it tight down on it.
That was cool.
But just those little rubies and diamonds and things were actually $70.
Really?
Yeah, because those are custom cut, like glass, and a lot. Okay, not all of them are glass though.
I thought those were like dollar store.
No.
Yeah.
No, these are not glass or plastic. These are also
All
the
the kids
person.
have them in their little backpacks.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. and I was like, that's okay.
That means they're over $1 each. They're a couple dollars.
Yeah. So, but this is the thing. Why they actually cost a lot of money too. They said that some of them are glass cut, but some of them were actually real. Because they actually had a mix of them, and they were selling them all as a lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, I didn't even know that.
See, so
Good
you guys
job.
think, oh, it's just
It's like dollar store.
No,
I
give me a toy.
Yeah, but yeah. Yeah.
No, this was really yucky.
That was
like,
a yucky one.
Oh,
that was mouse poo everywhere in there.
yes.
Yeah.
Underneath in the drawer.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. I use dust from up, like, in those areas that had never been touched for 100 years or whatever, for reals. And that's the greasy dust. That's why it was yucky.
What is that?
That is actually custom. Okay, those are map making equipment from Germany. They're antiques.
Wow.
Map making, and they also were used in schematics. I used them to actually draw that compass.
Which?
I did all these clues were custom drawn, and I also custom had to measure everything. But along with this one, there's a typo.
Oh wait, what is it? What is it?
It said the northeast, but it wasn't the northeast. It was the
It's the
northwest.
northwest. But I was working so hard.
That's okay.
There are not
That
very
old
many
pirate
people.
that wrote the map, he's just not very good with writing and
Those
stuff.
pirates back then, sometimes.
Okay.
Also, the distance that was 15
Yeah.
paces. That was not actually 15.
It was off.
paces. Yeah.
What happened was
It made it hard for us because we were like digging holes everywhere. I was like, "Ah." I was like, no wonder he said it was gonna take like 3 days because we were gonna dig up the whole yard, half an acre.
It was a little bit off. What happened was, I believe I was measuring them in increments of 1, thinking 1 foot, but I had actually made them
Oh.
in 2.5 feet for a pace.
Right. So at least that long stretch, if
Was right.
it had been 1 foot for paces, then it would have been right.
So this is the beauty of being able to edit.
And
Yes.
have the family there because you were like, I can't be here. And
Yeah,
we
you
were
weren't
like,
there during that
you weren't
part.
there, but Dad was
Your
there,
dad was
and
like,
he's like,
start right.
and I saw places that had like loose dirt, and I was like, he must have done it right here. So then I was like, I know what you did now. You got it wet and packed it down,
That's right.
and then you let it dry.
When I made the holes, I actually, you don't
But
understand.
Dad was there; he helped us find it.
When I originally dug that hole, I had to dig like 4 foot deep. We had an old post that had actually rotted away. And we used to own a rough cut lumber mill. And so we had a lot of this old wood that I could actually restore the house with to its actual proper frame, like matching time period. Anyway, so I had to dig like 4 foot down to hide this post about this big.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And then I put the clue in there.
Oh.
Actually gravel in there so that if you got water in there it'd leak out the bottom.
Okay.
Then I put the clue in, then I put the rock on top of it, and then I put dirt in there, filled it up with water, wait till it got down, put more dirt in there, filled it up with water, and so I made it so it was just as hard as the dirt around
It's
it.
very tight.
Yeah. We were like, loose dirt, let's dig there. And then we dug and dug and dug and
I have
dug.
a blister on my hand
does.
actually from digging in there. Then Shinoi and Jessica were digging so much. Right?
That's an antique
Yeah, they were
bottle too.
helping.
Oh, and the money, the coins. When it said Spaniard treasure, that wasn't real. That was like wasn't far from the truth. Meaning, those coins are actually Spanish cops from the 16 to 1700s. Each one of those is worth money. At the very least. Okay, for instance, when you see a coin like that, you can get one online for like $10, but that's without having anything on the front face or the back face, just a blank.
Wow.
Wow.
But each one of those, other than 2, out of all the coins in this, actually were Spanish cops, which
Wow.
could have been on real pirate ships.
Wow.
Wow.
Did you make this?
I made that up.
I love this one.
Yeah, this one
This
was-
is probably my favorite one.
I liked it because it was really neat and cool and something I hadn't seen yet, but I could figure it out
It was
pretty
also
easily.
easy. Yeah, it wasn't too hard.
Yeah.
Especially the flipping it around and kind of reading it backwards.
That was neat.
I like that.
So with a lot of these clues, I actually did a lot of research for things of that time period, and one of the sayings in there is "well begun is half done," and then it says "turn your tail and then you run." So halfway through it, you actually would flip it around backwards.
Yeah.
But it's so hard, so hard to rhyme with already existing things a lot of the time. For instance, that saying is actually in Mary Poppins. Well begun is half done when they have to clean up the room.
Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of this is trial and error, but the rhyming part is probably one of the most time-consuming to get it right. Yeah, and I gave this clue originally. I tried it on my mom, which was actually there, and she said, "I do not understand this at all. They're not gonna get it." And so that's why I had to do the paper.
Oh yeah.
Because if you didn't have the paper,
without the paper,
you can't see it.
No.
Yeah.
It's quite an interesting
paper, for sure.
cipher. Everything. Yeah.
To the east bedroom. Twist the nail behind the wall.
Now that was there before.
That was there before, but I had to totally redo it.
Because I remember you showed me a long time ago.
That's right. This is one of the hidden in the woodworks.
Okay.
Wait, what was on? Oh yeah, yes. This was a hidden in the
Yeah.
woodwork.
I had to match that paint color. See that?
Oh yeah.
And you can see a little bit off if around the nail part. It's just a little bit lighter. But also.
You added in the velvet.
Yes, I added the velvet
fork.
and the fork.
The three.
The three.
Before, when we did this hidden in the woodwork, Ryan uploaded it on his old channel, and everybody was like, "That's where you hide your weed."
You're dope. Oh, that's all the comments I'd ever get. I was like, I worked so hard on this. But I had to custom make a threek hole, like out of wood. In the backing of it, there's actually a nice shape of the fork in there, and then the velvet's over the top of it, so it fit in perfect.
And you also made that.
I was surprised when you pulled the fork out of it, because I was like,
oh,
like you ruined it. And I was like, it looks like, I mean, Ryan could have made it, but at the same time, it looks really antique. And I was like, what if this is one of those things that's super expensive? So when you went, wait, I was like,
that one's a story all in itself.
Did you make it?
I made that, and that's a custom key that goes to a lock that was actually buried in the dirt for 70 years. And in that lock that's near the tail end of the treasure hunt is actually 140 years old.
Whoa!
Wow!
They don't. So I called and tried to get. Oh, this is a cool.
We have to talk about.
Okay, I have to talk about that. I'll talk about that later.
This is my favorite one.
Okay, I was working on the bathroom.
Silver Eagle.
I
There's
came,
2 Silver Eagles.
I came in contact with the candy machine, and then I was like, oh, you know, it'd be awesome.
That's it. That's the twister.
That, yes, but
you put the handle.
I drilled in through the sides of it.
Whoa!
So you can see, it's a twister of a candy machine. I drilled in through the sides of it and made a ring so that it could actually be near the sink.
Oh,
and I was hoping to refinish the bathroom.
My mind.
Yeah, me too.
I was hoping to finish the bathroom, but you notice there's not a sink in there. Didn't quite get it finished, but that's okay.
At least you got that.
So now if someone runs out of toilet paper, this is going to be a new toilet.
Yeah.
Okay, so when this opened, when I was working on this and had it open, I bent down, and that's the corner edge that got my head. That's why I have the bump on my head.
Gotcha.
But I couldn't tell you guys that, but I did split the trim when I hit my head. It hurts so bad.
Wow.
Yeah, and if you notice, also at the same
What are
time.
all of the flowers and the arrows and stuff?
So okay, so in the process of refinishing a lot of things, and I didn't even tell you I had to move electrical and plumbing and stuff for this little area.
Oh wow.
Anyways, we noticed that in the layers of just being in the bathroom, that there was stuff like that throughout the layers, and so I tried to kind of match it according to the time period of the past.
Oh.
So I wanted to make it look old. Yeah. So that's why I did that. And if you notice, over time, when that keeps on spinning and spinning and spinning, at times it makes ring marks. So this was a fresh coat of paint.
Oh.
But I also sanded it, so I noticed that it wasn't rubbing. It wasn't rubbing, so it hopefully it doesn't leave ring marks from now on.
Is there a reason why it didn't reopen when she tried to...
Yes, I actually...
Because I went too far?
No.
Oh.
No, so because of how it's geared, it'll open every 2 or every 1. So sometimes you get 1, sometimes you get 2.
Oh.
So it's like a rip-off, because some people have to have 2 quarters.
Exactly!
One.
Isn't that awful?
Road. Well, at least I can find some quarters in the toilet in the bathroom that's close by.
So this next clue, if you notice, on the handle of the actual projector, this is one thing that's fake.
That one was fake?
This is the one thing that's fake.
Those are cool.
But I did a lot of research and...
Rip-off.
That's why I felt like I could write on the back of it.
Oh, gotcha.
All the rest were real.
And you
Other
can
than
you
this.
underline stuff in there, or was that?
Okay, I
Yeah.
did. Okay,
You wrote
on this I purposefully went and took with my calligraphy pen, and I filled in specific areas, so it did look real. And I'd trace over things, so it looked like it was part of it. But the original stock like this is actually very plain. It doesn't have a nice green border around it. I purposefully made it look like that because then they could tell it was a forgery or a fake already. So I didn't get in trouble.
Did you expect us to climb up the ladder right when we opened it?
I did, and that's why I actually made the peephole and things right up the ladder, so that you could look right into the storage room from there.
Well, because I was like, well, let's look at the clue first. I like to do things like very.
But I was
one
glad
at a
you
time.
did this because if you would have gone up in there, you would have shortcome the nice, big, cool way of getting in, where everybody could see it. So you did it great.
And this projector is one of my favorites of the whole treasure hunt. I love this.
Again, all this stuff is real. But now, why didn't we have a reel for the bottom part?
Oh, that's right.
Right? This the actual stuff was so old and brittle.
The 8mm
The
tape.
8mm tape.
Original.
This is all real stuff, and that footage of the circus is actually from like the 20s or something.
All those people are dead now.
I know.
No.
Well,
Yes. Yes, because Grandma, she was born in 1921. No, 1920. No, 1920. She was born in
Anyways.
1920. And if that was in 1920, then they're all like 20 years old.
That's right.
Anyway,
it's all tape.
Anyways, I had to tell you, I originally had bought like 7 reels, and as I was testing through them, I put on the bottom reel, and it actually goes a little bit faster than the top to keep it tight. Keep the reel tight as it's re-rolling it. And I put it on there, and I snapped a whole bunch of reels.
Yes. Sorry.
What were you talking about?
I love how he plays music through it.
Oh,
yeah, that's so cool.
If it was louder at the beginning, I think you started getting tired.
I know.
It's like 15-minute video.
Yeah.
But then it's a lot quieter on
He's
the
like,
piano. 'cause he was like,
Yeah.
I'm tired.
I really
But-
wanted to.
I know. I loved that so much. It just brought so much joy to my heart.
If you notice also though, that's why I didn't have the bottom reel on, so it actually flow through without snapping the reel,
Yeah.
and then I could just re-roll it.
Yeah.
But
That was a real slap.
yeah, this footage was so cool to watch through.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Didn't you say you still have some more?
Oh yeah,
I wanna watch
I have
it.
one called Mickey's Air Raid.
I want to watch it.
That one's cool to watch. Yeah, this was
Mickey
so
Mouse?
hard. Yeah, that was so hard because it's like so tiny.
Yeah.
The little 8mm film, so I had to write a letter on each one. That's as
Did you
small
write
as I
with
could
like
go.
a normal pen?
It was a fine tipped marker.
Wow.
But the reason why I felt like I could do it on this specific reel is this one's a fairly common reel that you can get and buy easily for not as expensive
How
as
much was the
others.
projector?
That one I got at such a good deal. I got it for $35. I found it's a $200 plus.
Whoa.
Depending on how
Did you
much
get
you
it at
have.
a thrift store?
Thrift store.
Yeah.
Thrift store fine.
Wow.
That's so cool.
Yeah. But it didn't
Thrift
come with
store.
reels. The reels got so expensive so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially the longer ones. But that one was a challenge because when I first originally did it, I burned up some reels too because I figured out there's a clutch on it, and I had to actually look it up too.
I watched a good YouTube video on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, was this trapdoor always there?
No, I built this. That was brand new.
I
If you
knew
notice
that.
the paint on it's fresh. It's pretty fresh.
Well,
Yeah,
I tried
it
to
was
make
like
it
The
look
shelves
old.
were always there.
No.
No,
None of
that was
there.
made.
It
That was a flat
plain
wall.
Really?
yes. That was a flat wall.
The thing is, they used to have like a shelf up against that wall, but that was never there.
And-
we knew that there was a hidden room behind the laundry room.
Yeah.
And you could only get into it through the laundry room, and there was not
Yeah.
there were not boards to.
So
that
you guys
could
had
step
never
on.
been in this room?
No,
have.
this we had been in this room, but it was
Only to
totally
explore.
different.
How did
Yeah.
you get into that room? Because the bathroom wasn't, you couldn't get to it.
Do you
Okay.
remember where the picture was?
Yeah, the peephole.
That used to be just a little door that you could
Oh.
push in.
It wasn't a door. It was
just
somebody
a
put a
wood-
board over it.
Yeah.
Wow.
But you could take it down and look up there. But up there, that was totally unfinished.
Yeah.
It was actually.
Like
I
an
had to do so much work on it to get it so it'd actually be safe to walk up there and things.
Wow.
Because
That's so cool.
yeah, because it's right above the bathroom. Originally
Yeah.
they didn't have a bathroom in there, so it actually stayed the height of the 10-foot ceilings in there. And so when they did the alterations, which was probably in like the 50s maybe, then they dropped the ceiling down lower. And so then there was a lot of stuff I had to work in to actually fix it, so it was
I can't
safe
believe you
to be
fit
up
through
there.
that.
I know, right?
I
I'm so
cannot
skinny.
believe it.
I'm so skinny. Woo,
I was
woo,
shocked.
woo. You were
I was
like,
thinking, we're gonna
you're
have to-
way too fat for that.
I did not say that. But I was saying we're gonna have to call the fire department and get you out of the wall.
I saw it and I was like, I can
So I was actually doing a lot of repair work too. When I originally got in there, not a lot of people had gone in there, and there were some beams that had actually been like sawn through. Oh yeah, that
I
sawn
haven't even
through.
watched this video yet, have you?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I'm just so excited.
Okay, I have some favorite movies that I got inspiration for, like the people and
Blackbeard's
stuff.
Ghost and
Blackbeard's Ghost. That
And
is
the
the
Private
10th
Eye.
wife of Captain Blackbeard.
it really is a picture.
Yeah, the
of
picture.
that. Oh, that's so creepy.
Private Eyes. I got the inspiration of the eyes opening. Goonies for the chain and the weights and the
I
stuff
was so
falling.
overwhelmed by this whole
Yes,
room.
he like
Yeah.
had to take a break.
I
He was like,
was like,
oh, I don't know how to handle it.
What?
So much stuff that was.
What did you
cool all
think?
at once.
Okay, so that statue is probably one of the more
Creepy
expensive
and
things I got.
naked.
Yeah.
But crap.
But crack statue.
The kids were laughing so hard.
Yeah.
Were they? 'Cause I kept saying
That statue is a new statue. Is a new statue. I had to make look old. I spent like $200 just on the statue.
Oh wow.
And then it's like now I get to make it look horrible and old. Yeah.
And you could sell it for $1,000 and say,
Say it was 200 years
So
old.
old.
Okay, these clues.
I accidentally found the rose
Yeah.
thing. I wasn't supposed to. I was supposed to just find the angel clue and then look at that, and then it was supposed to lead me to the rose clue. But I just explored the room really well and found the rose
Okay,
clue.
if you notice, so when I was rhyming and coming up with clues, sometimes I had just spare parts of clues that I was like, this is really eloquent and beautiful, but it doesn't really apply. So this clue was kind of the catch-all clue that only had one thing underlined, which was the rose.
Oh, you're going on and on and on, and this clue is just going
It was
forever.
confusing. I was like, ugh. And then I was like, I'm so glad I just already found the next clue. So I'm so confused right now. I'm just like,
Oh,
okay,
but that one was a challenge to draw that.
You didn't even really touch on that.
Yeah, which was actually kind of good. It was referring to beauty in nature and how there's the golden ratio and mean and everything. And so like
no wonder you were
roses
like,
and
this
flower
takes me
petals
months because you were like over.
and like balance, and roses and flower petals actually grow in this specific pattern that
Oh,
it's
that's
kind
cool.
of making reference to.
I always
Well,
hate
they were
these.
dead.
I always hate these
kidding.
little puzzles.
What did you think about how I incorporated it into the chain?
That was,
That was
cool,
really cool.
but I am
And
glad
hard.
that you did it because I did not want to even.
Do you know how hard it is to figure out where to put like
The
the chain
chain?
in a way that
I
it doesn't
know.
interfere with that
I
locking
know.
mechanism?
I was thinking about
She had a
that.
hard time getting it off.
I did. Even
Yeah.
after I had been practicing and practicing doing it, because I had to practice and I had to have my mom show me how to do it.
The edit makes
Wait.
it look like you did.
Yeah, Jared. Our little brother.
Because it took you a long time to figure that out.
Oh, it really did.
I
And
was
then
just working on it and working on it.
it makes it look like she figured it out, but my mom was like,
She showed
let
me
me
how."
see if I can do it. And then she
Yeah.
showed her. Excuse me.
And even in the attic, I edited it to make it look like you got that chain off really
Well,
fast.
but I was like,
But it probably
ah!
yeah.
Took me
Yeah.
forever.
I had to custom bend all those huge wires. And
I know,
guys.
I noticed that.
And the chains and everything.
This is cool.
Oh yeah.
That was a shot.
Ah!
No one was standing under that
Oh,
pile of
yeah!
bricks.
I was thinking that I was so worried about that. I was worried that one of the little kids would be underneath there and they'd be like
Like,
clunk, knocked out.
No, my goodness! You should. Were you there waiting just in case?
Mom and Dad were there.
Okay.
I couldn't be there.
Because we were doing everything wrong.
That's right. That's a custom made latch too.
That was the most disgusting clue I did. Because the dust in there, it was not like normal dust, it was grease dust.
That's
like from
because
a kitchen. Grease dust like
that's
the top of
because
the kitchen.
I actually swept up all the dust and all the gross stuff that had been there since the house was built.
And you put it in there?
And then I actually did sprinkle it. And so that dust is like 100 and some odd year
No
old
wonder we were
dust.
like haggard packing up junk.
Yeah,
It's
and like they used to have a coal. They used to burn coal in there, so that dust is really
Sticky.
so sticky and also like black.
That was kind of a weird clue because you're just like, oh, here's a random Viking hat.
And I saw, by the way, when I saw the Viking hat, I explored the room really well, and I saw the second clue, and I was just like, I know exactly what to do next. But I knew from catching the rose one that it wasn't time yet.
Original treasure hunt in my room. You can see this being built in the background, that helmet.
Oh, can you really?
You can.
No
It has
way.
the horn set off to the side.
You built that?
I
I
built
thought that
that
was one
from
of those
scratch.
things you bought.
No, I built that from scratch.
I'm
That's
gonna have to go back and watch
I
that now.
did metallurgy, right? And so I made a custom helmet that's a Viking helmet. That Viking helmet I made and made it look very old.
By the way, I could barely fit in there.
I know. Think about me.
I know.
Think about me, but I'm a big person.
Do you want to know how I got all the
And
spider
look,
webs?
ew, so disgusting.
Want to know how I got all the spider webs on that statue?
By taking them off the ceiling and draping them on there?
Yes.
I thought that too.
I actually took, like just
I thought
went
you
online.
used one of your big, huge spiders.
Those were real cobwebs. Those cobwebs were originally in there, and I was like, nobody touch these cobwebs. These are my cobwebs. I searching through the house. I went through the house many times searching for cobwebs. And I'd go like this and like peel it off the wall. I'm like, you better place it on this table. Better place it on this.
This is Red's cobweb stash. No one go over.
Yeah, I wanted it to be authentic, okay?
We did a great job.
Thank you.
No one watching this video will really appreciate.
That's
how
probably
much
some cobwebs right there.
Oh, I never saw it. Michael just said, oh, you have something on, you got it off.
Oh,
So
isn't that a, okay, I make my,
What's with the face?
oh, that is the face of the lady, I just drew it, but that's the face from National Geographic, their really iconic face of that
Oh.
lady. I was wondering if anybody noticed. Alright, more cobs. These are, again, 1600s to 1700s. Oh yeah, National Geographic face.
Wow.
Can you see it?
Now I can see it now.
Can you see it?
But
Yeah.
I thought it was just actually Blackbeard's wife again. I really did.
And I was just like, random face.
Okay.
So I wanted this one to be a little bit more intricate and having cool things drawn on there. So I wanted to just draw things. I did art.
You like to
college.
draw anyway.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
Again, the custom. What?
In a barn built long ago. I was like,
We
I
built that
know where
barn.
this is. I know where this is. It's the old barn in the yard. And I went to go and I was like, and everybody was kind of looking at me like, no. And I was like, I'm going to do it anyway. I know where this barn is. And my mom was like, it's not that
You
barn.
can tell from the
It's
boards right there.
Yeah. It's just like,
Yeah.
it's not that barn. It's the barn. And I was like, okay.
I know this clue except you guys.
You were rude that you filled that with gravel and dumped all of my eyeballs.
I wanted to make it look old. And I was like, this was the time when I had worked so hard and everything, and I was just so tired. I was like, sorry.
Was this one of the last clues you did?
Getting close.
Which was the last clue that you did?
I worked from both ends,
Okay.
but at the same time, there was just little things here and there. This one was probably the 5th to last that I did, but there's like over 25 clues. So by this time, I was just like, dirt. I meant to ask you this actually. Can I borrow some of your material that you use for beekeeping?
Burlap?
Burlap? Yeah.
You already used it.
In other words, that's your stuff.
Oh, really? I was like, oh, burlap. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's your burlap.
I don't have the bees anymore, so.
Oh, okay.
They
A
didn't make
treasure
it.
chest.
I got that another thrift store find.
That's pretty cool.
We tried to look this one up, we can't find it, but we noticed it was just
Antique
super
treasure.
old, so put it in there. It's cool.
We don't know.
Oh, you can see cool marks on those.
I just love how you
The
weren't just like clue to clue to clue. You were like clue with an intricate object. Clue with an intricate
Oh,
object.
that's hand drawn. Like
cool.
the birds and everything. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
It is cool, but the birds don't have anything to do with the actual.
Nothing.
It would have been cool if the little like squigglies on the bird wrote something up,
Oh yeah.
like a secret message.
Maybe a future treasure hunt.
Good idea.
Yeah. I actually really like
That was
the
still
idea.
really
yeah.
cool though.
It was cool.
Mm.
And then the little symbol, the little R symbol.
Yeah.
And all the.
Yeah.
Okay, the floor in there. I knew that was a hole before.
Mhm.
I knew because we had been down there before.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
We
nobody ever spent time down there because dust.
and spiders.
Harry Potter
Yes.
calls it.
Yeah, we call it the Harry
But
Potter
you're
closet.
so lucky that I went down there first. What I did is I actually
Got rid of all the cobwebs.
Yeah.
Place them in other places.
Yeah. But I actually had to level out the entire floor down there.
Oh yeah, that's probably why. It was
And that's why
so much dust.
Yeah, and that's why I also had a cough coming back home. Because this one was the second to last. No, this one was the very last clue. Well, other than the bathroom that I did.
Wow.
And so that's why I had that cough.
That clue reminded me the most of like Indiana Jones.
This one?
Yeah.
This one?
Yeah.
Like
Because of the
the
scale.
goblets and like the scale and like the little cup that seemed very plain for some reason, like that filled the water.
It reminded me of
Yeah.
Zelda because I could totally see you doing
Oh,
something
Zelda!
Climbing
Yeah.
under the floor.
like you have to pour the thing over there. to get it to like open the door.
Oh, Michael, you did not want to go down there.
So we know what happens in this, but what didn't happen in this?
Oh, there's so much that didn't happen. I actually made that so that that plunger could ignite the fuse.
Not plunger like.
But the dynamite plunger, which I made, by the way.
I've never heard that called a dynamite plunger.
At this time, I was running low on money because I had spent a lot of money on this treasure hunt. And so I custom made that plunger, that dynamite plunger. So it actually had a 9-volt battery on the inside of it. And when it went down, it actually just connected wires so that it would go to the terminal. And that went to a wire, which actually went to a light bulb that had been broken off. And that light bulb got so hot, it could ignite a smaller fuse, which would ignite a bigger fuse.
No wonder you were like, it didn't work. You put a lot of work into
I put a
that.
lot of work into it, and I was hoping that you guys would actually do it wrong.
I know. I was like, I'm not doing it wrong.
Well, I don't
And
want
then
to
you're
die.
like, and then you're like, I want to do it. But you're like intentionally doing it wrong.
So,
And I was like, "Ah,
so you notice that even after the doors opened, you can actually see water spilling into the bowl.
That's me
He
going.
kept
I want it to go up.
because he was trying to make it blow up.
Yeah.
Probably poured so much water in there that it put out the fuse.
I was wondering about that.
But it was so it was
It's
actually
waterproof
supposed to light the fuse, and then we were all supposed to freak out, and then it was supposed to flash a little bit of black
I
powder.
added some flash powder on it too, but then I realized maybe it was a good thing that it didn't go off because, for one thing, that's not good for the house. And so I was like, okay, maybe this is just like a blessing in disguise. We're good. We're good. I can take it. I can take it. I actually found out what the problem was though. I had done some solders onto the light bulb, and one of the ends had broken off, metal on metal, which is one of the least things I was worried about. Just the metal on metal breaking, but it was a good solder. It actually torn apart it like broke the light bulb in a spot that the light bulb itself had been soldered.
So we actually debated when we were filming this, and even when I was editing it, do we just like make it blow up just so we can get the shot? Like, do we even edit it? So I actually cut it out so you don't even see us trip the bomb.
Yeah, but I did trip it, but it was still a dud.
Yeah.
And I got it to when I found out it was I wiggled the wire.
very hard to see
It's
the
very
bomb.
possible, like a mouse may have had something to do with that, because there are mice in there and it might have bit something or eaten something.
It was so hard to film this part
Yeah.
because the
I
screen.
was so uncomfortable down there.
Oh, I
Yeah.
know.
Oh.
He was
I was
complaining a lot.
I was whining a lot more than the video shows. I just edited it out so I didn't whine that
Just
much.
like in the last treasure video, when you're like spiders.
I made the red goblet
No
from an
way.
egg type. An egg. You put an egg on it and then you eat it. It also is like it was a candle holder, and I made it and I put the chains around it.
Those gold coins just look so inviting.
Don't they?
I just want to grab them all and
They
just
just-
hold them.
Those okay. Out of the two things that are fake in the treasure hunt, the gold coins were fake, obviously,
'Cause
because
they were too
that's
shiny.
too expensive. Okay, too expensive, and then the
I mean,
railway
they were
train.
perfect.
So what are these dynamites actually made out of?
Okay, that was made out of
Candlestick.
No. So I went and printed off real dynamite outer casings, what they'd look like, and then I put them around dowels that had been drilled in, and then I had dirtied them all up, and then added a little bit of white powder
To make it look like it's...
and oil, because a lot of things like this, if it was a real dynamite, would be leaching out a lot of the nitroglycerin.
And all
A lot of
those
research.
years, we had no idea we were standing on top of a bomb.
Yeah, that's why. In all reality, if this was a real treasure hunt, we would probably at that point call it bomb
Died.
squad. We would
Oh.
probably
If
get
it was
out of
a
that
real
room.
treasure hunt?
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. We would have gotten out of that room and said, "Okay, let's call the like a bomb squad, and then we'll be safe." Yeah. So that's it's a little bit.
Where's your treasure hunting spirit, Ryan?
I wouldn't take that chance.
I was like, let's do it. Even James was like, I'm a little bit scared.
Yeah, he was getting scared, and he had to actually. I was
'Cause
like,
we were
okay,
like,
James,
it's
you go
real.
upstairs.
It's okay.
We were telling him because we were like trying to make it real.
Yeah.
You know? He was like,
Well, the thing is, even though he knows that it's not real, because he knows he's seen Ryan make some of this stuff.
Yeah.
He, at the same time, I think it was easy for him to forget that it was Ryan because it was easy for me to forget at some points that Ryan made
I
it
had to
because it was
custom
so
make
real.
that. This whole thing, this whole setup, was
Well, you
really
chopped that
cool.
room in half
A little bit, yeah.
with the words.
This whole setup is actually quite intricate because if it did have a string that actually went to a piece of metal that was a long weighted piece of metal, so I had to incorporate the weight of the treasure and the weight of it pulling up the weight to unlock the door, and so.
Did you set it up and get? Was there a door that you could get out of the other way?
No, and so that's probably another good thing why the fuse didn't go off. That's a good thing, because I also was planning on bringing water down there, so like a pitcher of water just in case, and I forgot to bring it. So I was like, oh, that's so good it didn't go off.
We'll have to light it, see how it goes.
Yeah, I want to light it to show
we
you
should light
guys.
it on the beach house.
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome.
This was such a hard clue for me.
This clue is actually kind of it doesn't make sense until you go up there.
Yeah. Once we went up there, it was fine, but it was
And another reason why it didn't make sense is chimney stack.
Colonel Mustard and the candles.
Yeah. It's supposed to say chimney stack, but it actually said chimney slack because I forgot to put a T.
I know.
A slash.
Gotta cross those T's.
Gotta
and
cross
dot
those
I's.
T's. I think I did miss a dot into an I on an earlier one.
So funny.
Wait, have we gotten to the typo where you misspelled drawer?
Oh, I think so. I think we passed it.
We did pass
It was so terrible. I misspelled drawer. It's supposed to be with a D.
He spelled it with a J.
I
so
spelled it with a J. Drawer. But
Those tired, exhausted pirates.
I know.
that's SMP, grammar for you.
But I was thinking, oh, this is kind of cool too. In front of that, it actually says
That book?
door in the wall. That book says door in the wall on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That little pink book.
There's in front
I was
of it.
like,
And if you notice,
at
there's
this
a type.
point, I was like,
Yeah.
am I supposed to rip the boards off the wall? I actually asked my mom, and she's like,
Yeah.
because I was like, this looks like it actually kind of looks nice. I don't want to ruin it.
Yeah.
Noblesse oblige.
Yeah, it was noblesse oblige. It's French. It means nobility obligated to help you.
Nobody helped us.
I love this clue so much.
That was
I'm
cool.
glad that we didn't have to twist it and turn it. He was like, just
Yeah.
arrange it this way. And it's
Yeah,
Yeah.
I liked that too.
Yeah. Another reason why that one was so confusing is I folded it in a way that it was supposed to be like you read it and then fold it all one direction, fold it all another
That's
direction.
how I did it.
So you did do it.
No, I was able to read the.
Oh, it just doesn't make sense.
It's just it wasn't
because
making
you
sense.
didn't have the door open.
Right. Now this is cool. How did you make this?
Oh, that's a really a custom made locking door.
I looked at the back of it, and it looked similar to the back of the bathroom door when you opened it.
Yeah,
There were
it
like
did.
chains on it and like switches and all these
Yeah,
things.
what it did is it had when all those dials align, it has a big long hole drilled into all those layers of the dials. And so then when you pull down that brass, it actually allows a piece of metal to go down in it, which if it's up, you can't twist the door handle, but when you push it down, it can twist the door handle. So it was an actual lock. It was just like a safe lock.
Brilliant.
At this point in the treasure hunt, Michael was like, I'm not going in there.
Mhm.
And I was like, fine, I'll go in there. 'Cause I was
Way
so,
too many small, dirty rooms.
I know, I was so disgusting. I felt so grimy by
Yeah,
this
and then
point.
this is also a real typewriter that I purchased for like $50, and then I found out it was around $200 up
Wow.
from there. And actually I saw another one that had just about the same amount of things that I had, minus a couple things, and it was $500. So I was like, this is a good deal. I got a great deal.
And it worked,
Yeah.
because you typed on it.
Yeah, it actually worked. I was so surprised. But I had to repair it. I had to repair that. It was missing a spring, and one of the letters was stuck down because it was missing a spring. And then also a thing had snapped in it, and I had to refix
We're
it.
getting close to the end of the
Yeah,
treasure
this was
hunt.
the point where Dad was like, maybe you should try it from the outside. He had lot of times that he was like, I can't help it, I have to say something.
I had
and Ryan, I'm sure, was like...
I had to edit him out a lot because otherwise you'd hear him telling us what to do all the time. And I was like, I can't keep all these in there.
Oh, this window?
He just wanted to be part of the...
That window, I had just barely
so excited.
Put there. And so
The outside window?
it looks really old, but
I thought it was real.
exactly. I had to actually scour to find hinges that had old white paint on them, and then stuff like that.
That outside window was never there before?
No, it was never there.
It was just open with the one
But
stained glass?
the thing is, there was another
This house is a
door.
lot less drafty.
There was another door on the house that it actually had that window on it, but it was only being held on by like 2 nails, and it was ready to fall off.
Oh.
And so I actually switched that with another one and fixed the other area. That's another reason why it took so long. My dad said, whenever you take something off of another place, you have to fix the problem that you started in making. So I was taking old beat up materials and making brand new things in other areas that you guys didn't even know about.
If you're going to be making a treasure hunt in my house, you better make this decision.
Yeah,
Well, this one was hard because we forgot the clue.
Yeah.
We just
I was
found
like,
the thing and we're like, looking all over it. Michael's looking up the doll's dress. And
Yeah.
I was looking for clues.
hey, but I did notice the key that was in there.
That's what it actually looked like, though. It was all so gross in there. I just left it in there. Other than a little bit of flour. That's another reason why you don't see Jessica participating much in this. We told her in the last treasure hunt that I had sprinkled it with flour, and she's allergic to gluten.
So it's like a Jessica repellent flour.
A little bit.
If you don't just want just gonna come to the house to
I got
your house, it's never.
Poor Jessica.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That was really funny when we were pulling the key out of the doll. James
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, it reminds me of the girl from the movie." Pulling
Pulling the sword out of
the
her
sword out.
throat.
When we watched that in the movie, I was like, "Kids, don't put that sword in your
I know, I'm like, and they were like, in that movie, they were hitting each other really hard and like doing dangerous things.
It was weird. It was weird watching it because there were so many
like-
things in the past that you could get away with. They showed actually the clowns
Whipping the
spanking each other.
elephants?
Yeah, whipping
banging each other with mallets and stuff.
Yeah. And
hitting-
knocking them off of the huge high swing thing.
Yep. And they were even like they were spanking each other and
Yeah,
stuff.
that was weird.
Which
You put that part in there.
I did, yeah.
That's cool.
Because otherwise it would
Referenced
just make
it.
James sound crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, what did you think of that? The key.
That's
Key.
You
weird.
made it.
No, that's a Chinese like lock replica.
Whoa.
Like it's
Pirate
what
found it.
it's actually an ancient Chinese lock.
Oh.
Yeah, but it was made out of brass.
So that key went with the little dragon lock thing.
Yes, it did.
Wow.
And I had to custom refinish that entire trunk.
See, that was when I was like, I'm not gonna pull this thing apart. It looks ancient.
I think you had told me that you made it. And that's
Yeah.
why I was like, oh.
Oh, in
I'm
the
like,
past I did. I think I had told him that. Because originally I think I made this right before the
But
last
you told me yesterday when we were filming this.
Oh, that's what.
to help him out.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. The part that's coming up next is the part that I hate the most.
All the
Of the
dust.
whole day.
You guys don't even see all the work that went in that. There was probably literally like 2 tons of rock and
So much
and
dust.
debris and dust that was in that little area. I wanted to make it look like Back to the Future.
It really did look
It
like
did.
Back to the Future.
It did.
I saw that and I was like, there's a
Like-
DeLorean hidden.
Back to the Future
I'll have to
3.
do a treasure hunt with a giant car at the end.
A time traveling
Time
treasure
travel.
hunt? That would be cool. Okay,
that'd be
sorry.
awesome.
Go ahead.
Okay.
So this took me so
Storage
long
room.
to do. So
In the
long to do.
basement.
Oh, because I had to make the door. I had to make the frame of the door. Then I had to cement in the sides, and then I had to make the door itself.
Which
And
was like
then-
$200 or something like that.
Yeah, the door knocker on it is from Toscano's or something. It's actual a place, but I had to rust it up. I rusted it up, but it was $80 just that door knocker.
Wow.
And then you have to add all the other stuff that's on it, and the custom work chain work that I did in front of it. That was all. They were tire chains. Tire chains that were old and broken.
Now we had a lot of help getting all the stones out, but did you get them all in there by yourself?
I did. So Jared helped me. Jared's right there. He helped me to actually originally get all that dirt out of there, and that was in the room that the treasure room was in. I leveled it off, and actually picked away at the walls here and there, that's with the shovels that you see in there. Shovel and pick.
Yeah.
Anyways, and
So much
we
stuff.
got it all out of there, and it was in the pile right there where it's at right now. And then I literally put boards up and literally took that actual stone and re-put it in there after Jared and I had just finished hauling it out. Oh, it was so awful.
So then you put it back. You hauled it out. You put it back in, and then we hauled it all back out again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure part of this was just like frustrating to see it just all undone so quickly.
Oh, a little bit. But, and that symbol, by the way, is JRL, standing for Joseph Ryan Lee. There's a J on one side, an R in the middle, and an L on the other side.
That is you.
That's JRL, Joseph Ryan Lee, me. But I also had to make that frame so it had
Milk crates.
places where I could put nails.
I saw that and I thought,
Milk
those
crates.
used to be blue milk crates.
Oh, okay. So I worked in fabrication in like museums, in Museum of Art at BYU, Brigham Young University. And what I wanted to do is I noticed that a lot of the really old stuff does have lattice like that, but it's normally
look,
made out of
It
wood.
had a blue milk crate right in front of it. You can totally compare it.
Yeah, but so I spray painted some milk crates and made it look like lattice or gold.
I think it looked great.
Yeah, but it also had on it, you don't see it, there's little skulls and crossbones in there too. That took me a long time too.
Lock and handle, bended knee.
And I had to age it to look like that old because it was fresh and new. You actually couldn't open up the door. Even if you undid the bolts, it would only go about this far, which is not enough to get in there. Possibly a little kid maybe, but
That was cool.
That lock is the one that I was talking about that was buried in the dirt for 70 years.
Wow.
And then how I actually unlocked that, because you can't get locksmiths nowadays unless it's like super duper expensive, because they don't know how to unlock them nowadays. What I did is I took a graphite pencil and went tick, 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 got the graphite out, and I went through every layer and made a diagram on a piece of paper for every layer of the lock. Then I took a prodding tool, just like a long needle, went in there and moved around the ones that could move, and I realized that the ones that could move had to be longer in those areas, and the ones that couldn't move, it had to be shorter in those areas.
Wow.
And then I
He
did.
is an ancient locksmith now.
Wow.
I used popsicle sticks originally. Found out that did not work, even though I had figured it out in the past and other things that would work with. And then I had to make 4 more custom keys out of metal
That's so
until it unlocked.
You want to know what's really interesting? That popsicle stick video was our 1 year ago video today.
What?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That gold
Oh.
looks so good.
That gold, if you notice, the gold in the other room is the same gold, but I put shellac on each coin to make it look different a little bit in the different spots. Just kind of to make it more fun.
I saw the fruit in there and it reminded me of dragon eggs.
Yeah, that was a reference. Oh, this painting is actually kind of cool. My mom painted that, but it's actually making reference to a Vincent van Gogh that was lost in World War II.
Oh.
One of the really expensive Vincent van Goghs that's just lost. That was lost in a fire. But that original one was a square, not round.
Wow.
But still, it's kind of cool. Whoa! Treasure!
I feel like we're just professional screamers.
That crown is actually like gold plated.
So I'm excited
Real 24
for
karat
you to
gold.
do a video just highlighting everything in this treasure chest, or a bunch of the stuff in the.
A lot of DI finds that I found out were actually from like 1880s
Whoa.
that I did not know about. It was kind of cool actually finding out a lot about that. Yeah.
So the treasure hunt is gonna.
The treasure hunt does continue.
You know what we should do? We should take the whole chest with everything in it to the Antiques Roadshow.
Open it up. Actually, that'd be really good because a lot of silver cups in there.
Collaboration.
I got a huge lot of all these silver cups, and they said India World Gift on them, like etched into the bottom, and I kind of wondered if they were from like something like the East India Trading Company.
And it's right that your parents are selling a house.
They are.
Actually.
They are.
So,
By the way, I'm only going to say this because I just was noticing my hair. At the end of the day, I had it in a messy bun. At the end of the day, I took it out, and I was pulling all sorts of nasty, disgusting clumps of spider web or whatever, leaves and junk out of my hair. It was disgusting.
Yeah.
And that little messy bun just held it all in there. Ugh, so gross.
The
Got a
Black
shower.
Widow's in your hair, making mess.
It was a real rat.
So that last clue hints to that there might be more, but you don't have anything else in place yet. You just were leaving
Actually,
open-ended, right?
this was the exact same way that I left off with the other one. I actually didn't have anything made, but I had the idea that I wanted to encase it in lead. And that, in and of itself, the lead was really, really interesting because I had to make a form for the lead to be in, and I had to do the scroll first, roll it up, then put plaster around it because plaster's heat resistant, and then I had to put the lead around that using tire weights, melting tire weights. And what was interesting with that is when I did the form, I had done tons of forms in the past, but you're supposed to heat up the form before you ever pour molten metal into it. I actually worked with like Gary Price Furnishing. It's making bronze statues. Anyways, you have to heat up the form ahead of time, or else when you go to pour the metal into it, it'll actually explode your form.
Wow.
And I had like heated up a little bit, but not enough. And when I poured it in there, it boiled, like exploded a little bit with the lead.
Thanks.
And I was wearing shorts. I jumped up in the air and did the splits pretty much, and didn't get any on me. But I was like, I could have burned my legs. So you have to be so careful with so many clues, especially ones like that. And lead is toxic, so you had to be really, really careful with
I
the lead
breathed in so
itself.
much of that.
No, you didn't.
What?
You better not.
But
So, more treasure hunts to come, more
Yes,
videos
more
coming
treasure to
on
come.
your channel. We're gonna be, you're gonna be actually going into each
Detail.
detail.
I actually really want to
future
start
videos.
going into a lot of detail and show you guys how to make your own. A lot of examples would include, like with the first treasure hunt, for instance, how did I get all the coins inside of the actual ornate porcelain things, or
And you're gonna be doing
or the mirror.
we're gonna also
reflection.
do kind of a reaction.
How did I
video,
write in cursive backwards?
And we're gonna do a reaction video also to the first treasure hunt.
We will.
That's gonna be
We
coming
will.
soon, also on your channel.
Sorry, it's not as real as it may have seemed, but
it's pretty cool.
now you know the behind the scenes.
So if you wanted to know more, stay tuned. There's gonna be a lot more too.
A lot more to come.
All right.
Awesome.
We'll see you
Bye.
later.
Bye.
Thanks.
Well, what do you guys think?
Isn't that crazy? What surprised you the most
Yes.
out of any of the facts? I think mine was when hearing that Ryan had sent that record, the audio, to France to be made on an actual record and sent back. That was insane. And the voice of that was our brother-in-law. We didn't even know. Who's here right now.
That's right. Cody, our audio technician, who's always the mastermind behind our podcast audio quality levels.
Yes.
He was the voice on that record.
It was so,
Hey,
so
boys and
crazy.
girls.
Here's the secret code, or whatever he said.
I think what blew my mind the most was that Ryan was trying to sabotage our dynamite experience.
He was
in the
going to
basement.
blow up the
He was
house,
trying to make it blow
and
up.
it didn't blow up. And thank goodness, because
It could have
it
been
probably
bad.
would have killed us all and burnt the house down.
So comment below what
Are you happy
You
that we
want-
have more videos since then?
I am.
Comment below and tell us if you are.
Or if you're listening to this anywhere you find podcasts and on Anchor, you can leave us voice messages on Anchor, which are kind of fun too. So let us know what you guys think. Thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate your support.
I'm sure you have tons of questions, so send them our way.
And maybe we'll talk more about it another time.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you guys. Beach Theory out.